Tom Rock. I'm the elementary principal here. This is a new exciting adventure for us, starting a 3-year-old preschool program. This is presently our TK classroom, and Melinda Eichenberger is our TK teacher. But we kind of thought that this would be a great space for a 3-year-old preschool program. It's got close access to our playground. Also has great access at the end of the day for parents to pick up just right through here and eliminate some of the chaos of trying to do things at the mid part of the day. So we have 3 great preschool teachers here. We got Rhonda Wicks. Rhonda's a veteran of our preschool program. That doesn't mean old.
That does not mean old.
It doesn't mean old. It's a veteran. Kayla Motes. Kayla has been, she taught special ed last year. She's been doing 2nd grade, but her passion has been the very little itty bitties. And so we're excited for this opportunity. We knew we cut back our preschool section this past year. So she did 2nd grade for a year with hope that we would grow into another 3rd section of 4-year-old preschool. But now we had this opportunity to have 3-year-old preschool. So she's basically transferred into that role, and we're excited for her to do that. So she's excited. And then Carly Bredehoft, who's been doing preschool and kindergarten for a few years now, she's making the jump to 3rd grade. 3rd graders can zip their coats and tie their shoes and don't snot on themselves quite as much. So maybe an easier gig, except it's multiplication and division, so in cursive. So some challenges, I guess, there. And then we have Dr. Aylesworth here in the back, who's kind of basically the guy that got this all rolling. We had a grant from the state to kind of explore this opportunity. Our preschool staff went out to various communities that do have 3-year-old programs to look at, how much do you charge? How does this work? What does their day look like? And that's some of the stuff that our staff is going to go through with you today. So they'll give you some information. We'll have some time at the end here for questions. We don't plan to keep you here super long because we know some of you have little kids and sitting very long will be very hard. So, not you, Glenn, you'd be great. All right.
Okay,
Who wants to go first?
we really appreciate you coming. We're going to give you just a little quick, super fast, so you can get more to the meat of it, background. Carly, myself, and Miss Wild have done a lot of research the last few months. Since school started, we made some visits to other districts that have 3-year-old programs to kind of learn out the how, the where, the why, how they make it work within their district to kind of figure out how we would make that work in our district. Wasn't a need. We visited I-35, we spent some time at Panorama, we spent some time at Twin Cedars, and we visited Johnston, which was a bigger school district, but they still have some really good things happening there that we could observe and take some ideas away from. And then we kind of gathered up our information. We had some meetings as a team, as a group here at our district, and put together a presentation to give the school board.
And then we gave it to them in January, and they kind of said, go with it. Let's kind of see what interest we get. And we sent out a message like, who's interested? A lot of you guys responded. So in February, they approved to go ahead and have the program. So tonight we're having a meeting to tell you all about it.
And from there, we want to introduce you to Miss Smokes, because she's going to be our 3-year-old preschool classroom teacher, and she can tell you about herself.
Yep, so I have, here earlier, I was a special ed teacher last year. This year I have been teaching 2nd grade. It's been a joy, but it's always been a passion of mine to teach the littles. I did a lot of practicum hours in college, just spending time in the littles. I did nonverbals and stuff like that. I also taught in Nicaragua with a bunch of littles and did special ed with some very littles as well. So that was a lot of fun. I went to Dordt University, which is up in northwestern Iowa, just a small, very intimate campus, and yeah, I grew up in Knoxville, so I'm a local girl-ish, if you consider that local, but yeah, so very excited about next year. My email is listed below on the paper, and then also, if you have any questions, like I was just added, so I don't know all the information, so we'll be answering that through the QR code. So, yeah.
Okay, so what you guys have as a handout is also projected up there, and we thought we'd just kind of hit some program overviews to start off with. So what we're looking at under each heading is a tuition of $145 a month. But as you look at that, there's the same scholarships that are offered to our 4-year-olds in that program will be offered to our 3-year-olds too. And those I highly, highly recommend that you apply for them, even if you think, no way I'm going to get this. There is money sitting there that needs to get allocated. So if X amount of people do not apply, then the scope of where they give it out gets broadened, because it needs to be given out and put in hands of families for preschool tuition. So even if you think, no, maybe our family's not gonna qualify, it's not that lengthy of a process. I would fill out the information and apply. You get a no, you get a no. It's not that big a deal, but I would do that. Transportation is being offered, and that is a $20 extra fee just to cover some of those costs. If you are able to pick up your child and drop them off, then you're more than welcome to be able to do that, and then you don't have to worry about that extra part of that.
Can I ask about the transportation? So do you have to have a certain number of students that are interested in that to offer it, or?
And
We're just gonna offer it.
Okay, and is that on a large school bus, or is that like one of the school's SUVs, or what is?
That might be a little contextual based on the number of kids that sign up. Our plan right now is if we get a good response, it'll likely be a school bus.
Okay.
But then when your child's getting picked up, if they choose transportation, that obviously there wouldn't be as many kids because they're leaving a half day. So that bus would be obviously a lighter load.
What would it look like if your kid could be dropped off, if they would need picked up? Is that like any different cost-wise, or?
Then you wouldn't worry about the transportation fee part of it.
Transportation's on like one way, not the other, is that what you're saying?
Right, like if they could be dropped off by the husband, but then they need to be transported to said place. So they don't need both morning and night, they just need one.
Oh, yeah, yeah, I'm not sure.
Still the same
Haven't
cost
thought
is
about
what
that
she's
scenario.
asking.
Yeah.
Yeah. Drop off and drop pick up.
Drop us and pick up.
Rhonda, you've got one more.
Wait, but I just want to make sure, because my daughter would be in daycare, so can I assume that they would be able to be picked up and dropped off at the daycare place?
Yep. Yep. Curriculum, okay, as we say, veteran, and my eyes are. A lot of what we're looking at curriculum is, and there's more at the back on the bottom, on the opposite side of the sheet. We're looking at a lot of self-help, social, emotional, get into the school building, learn to interact with peers, ask an adult for help, those kinds of things. But we have a curriculum called Creative Curriculum. We already have it in the district, and we use it with our 4-year-olds, and it's worked out just wonderful. And we have a way of kind of aligning that, so they're not gonna do the same thing in 3-year-old preschool that they're gonna see in 4-year-old preschool, but the setup of the curriculum would be the same. So we'd be using that creative curriculum. The assessment piece is called Teaching Strategies Gold, and that's another really, I think, exciting thing. We use that again in our 4-year-old program currently. It's a developmental continuum. But we've not really had any access to, or very rarely do we have any access of a 3-year-old using it to come in, so we start blank with our 4-year-olds. Whereas this case, our 3-year-olds will already be here, they'll use the Teaching Strategies Gold to get that assessment rolling, and then that information will just share and kind of carry through to their 4-year-old year. So that information just carries on through and kind of gives that next year teacher some good information for you. Yeah.
Alright, so then the ratio for 3-year-old preschool is 1 to 8. So that is, the teacher and then a gen ed associate would be in the room at all times. It's kind of all that is really, right? There might be more adults in and out too, but it is that, teacher and gen ed associate will always be in here with them.
Flip it over to the back side.
So then the schedule, we're thinking to have, if you flip the paper over, a Tuesday, Thursday class and a Wednesday, Friday class. This would just be an example of what the schedule is. They would arrive at 7:45 if they're on the bus with other kids. Or if you drop off, they need to be here by 8:10 is the late bell. Then we were thinking by 11, that if they were a bus rider, they would leave by 11, and then 11:15 for everyone else. And just kind of having recess during that time, so that it's easy to just pull up and grab them and go. And then obviously if it's inside recess, there's a door here that we can just send them out instead of going through the whole school building, so.
And then the in-between part of the schedule, that's kind of that tentative spot, but it kind of shows you, Ms. Moats can make some adjustments to it as she feels the need to. But it shows you where your child will have a center time, where they're able to interact with your peers, learn some of those social skills, music movement, large group setting, having stories read to them, small group instruction where you're targeting more specific skills and kind of rotating kids in and out. So kind of hitting all those areas of development that you're going to want your child to have as they get ready for the next step, for 4-year-old preschool. So then the bottom, we listed out some core skills that in 3-year-old preschool. Self-help skills like learning to wash your hands, putting on your coat, asking for help from another adult, and that sense of independence, being away from mom and dad or other caregivers. Social emotional development, learning to recognize feelings, being able to say how I feel is a big one for little ones, learning ways to calm down, and just those play skills in general. Physical development, gross motor, fine motor skills. You always hear preschool teachers talking about fine motor skills. That's a big one for us. That's the using your small hand muscles to string beads and put puzzles together and do those things that gets your muscles strong in your hand, which helps them in 4-year-old preschool. We do it more, helps them in kindergarten, then they're ready for that writing part of school. Cognitive development, problem solving, listening skills, and some of those pre-academic things. And a nice thing too about having a 3-year-old class within our building, again, there's that alignment piece, so she can kind of look at, this is what we're doing in 4-year-old preschool to get them ready for kindergarten. What can we step it back a little bit to get them ready to be 100% successful going into 4-year-old preschool? So those conversations, we'll be able to meet every Monday and work together to plan those days for the kids and what their year looks like. So questions over that part? Yeah.
Sorry.
No, you're good.
So it's either you do Tuesday and Thursday or you do Wednesday, Friday. Did you kind of figure out that was maybe too much for them to go all 4 days, or?
I think a little bit of it is the response we have, and we did have some input visiting those other districts that mornings were for sure the better hours for 3-year-olds. Even our 4-year-olds rest, but just that they're more tired, and so to get that, at their best to be able to learn to play with others and those other skills. Yeah. Other questions?
What about if your child isn't potty trained? Are there any issues with that?
That is why we have the teacher and the associate. So we know even going into 4-year-olds sometimes that happens. So there's a bathroom in the classroom, and then there'll be times within the schedule to make sure kids have bathroom breaks and, facilities and adult assistance there for them when needed. Which is another reason why that ratio comes down a little bit. In our 4-year-old classrooms, ratio is 1-10. Well, when you have younger yet and some of those other needs, the ratio goes down a little bit. You need more 1-8 help.
We're actually gonna refurbish this room just a little bit because these sinks are too tall. I mean, you can see TK kids have to step on a step stool, but the toilets, we're gonna get a new toilet, so it's smaller. This sink will be dropped. We'll get a changing table in the bathroom here behind Mr. Heffler that's they can be changed to the privacy and so on and so forth. Super close to the nurse if we have any issues with that.
Will they be serving breakfast?
I
I don't think we are.
we're doing
No.
that.
Okay.
They would have snack here, but that would be parent provided, just like 4-year-old preschool.
I know sometimes you guys use tablets, would that be something this age group would be doing or not?
My assumption would be, I don't
There
know.
might be a handful, but not like one per kid, or might be a small classroom set that they can partner up on, but probably won't be a big,
Amount of
no, a little less screen time.
Yeah. A lot of times with blocks and puzzles and dolls and pretend play.
Rhonda, can you talk about when we would start? So generally, there's a week in there where preschool,
Right. Usually, I don't have the date in my head yet, but usually school, and I think that's the same. Next year it's on a Thursday, I do believe, that K through 12 starts. Preschool takes until the next Thursday to start. The 3-year-old program will fall under the same standards that the 4-year-old program falls under. So we fall under Iowa Quality Preschool Programming Standards. And we've gone through audits, we've gone through visits to our classrooms to know that we're meeting those high quality standards that the Department of Ed requires us to operate. The 3-year-old program will just be enveloped right within that same standard. So within those standards, we're asked to make home visits once a year, and we choose to do them at the beginning of the year. So some of you I know, I've been to your houses, or so the 3-year-old classroom will have the same situation. She'll make a visit to your home within that first week that K through 12 starts. And the purpose of that is not anything critical or evaluative. It's just to get to know you better on a smaller terms, get to know your child better. They get to meet the teacher in their home. It makes them feel way more comfortable than when they see the teacher in the classroom, answers parent questions, those kinds of things. And usually we reach out, we try to give you like a 4-week notice so that you have time to make arrangements. It doesn't have to be both parents at home. It can be just one, but we do like the child to be there so that they can meet the teacher. But we try to reach out about 4 weeks ahead of time, so you have plenty of time to make arrangements for work and kind of figure out a good schedule to get that fit in. And it's like a half-hour visit that we're there. And we talk about anything they want to talk about. Our associates usually travel with us to those home visits. A lot of times they're playing with the kids while you then have a chance to talk to the teacher about any questions that you might have.
Yeah, I got the date for you. So all students start, except preschool, August 24th, that's a Thursday.
Yeah.
Preschool will start 1 week later, which is the 31st of August. So in between the start date of everyone else and when preschool start, they would have those home visits set up.
So that would give that Tuesday, Thursday group a 1 day that
One
week,
day.
and the Wednesday, Friday day group a 1 day that week before they start in on that Tuesday, Thursday, Wednesday, Friday group.
What determines what day your kid goes? Do you guys do that, or is it?
There'll be a little bit of input from you if there's a day that's better, but also to try to make transportation work, because to send a kid to Swan, and then another one out towards Smelter, and then, another one out to Pinchy, or where the little remote areas of Pleasantville are. We will probably try to cluster transportation just a little bit to make that a little bit easier, so kids aren't on a bus for half an hour or longer. And we want to get it as quick so we get them here and home so that they don't fall asleep or whatever, or bounce around all over the place on the seat. So it could be a little bit of all of that.
What's the enrollment date and how many spots are you targeting for available?
Enrollment day, as in like when you get packets, the sign up. Well, we actually have our packets prepared. So those are free to go out to anybody who is thinking for sure that they would like to have one, and then fill those out. Those are the same packets for registration that preschool does. So then for preschool, you fill out preschool registration packets, and then you fill out the district registration, so you're kind of doing double duty there. But then we were thinking that there might be a way to slide those 3-year-old registration packets, like do an update as they go from the 3-year-old room to the 4-year-old room the following year. And then what was the other part of your question?
Spots available.
Spots available, again, so we have a 1-to-8 ratio on Tuesday, Thursday, and the 1-to-8 ratio, and with 2 people in,
So
that's
16.
16.
Yeah, and then 32 total. So the faster we get them in, the more secure the spots will be.
Right.
Right now, we have, what, 22-ish?
22.
So we feel pretty good. We haven't capped out yet by any means, but I wouldn't wait super long.
In the past, we've done first come, first serve as the packets come in. The other thing that's in your packet for 3-year-old and 4-year-old, this is the same thing too, just another word of advice. You need an updated physical, but I understand like maybe your insurance doesn't cover, my child can't have a physical until August. I don't want to take them in again. You can get a copy of a physical that you already have, make that date. Don't let that keep you from turning in your registration packet. Turn in everything else, and we'll remind you that you still need the physical form, but don't wait to turn it in based on just the physical.
I was gonna ask about the tuition then, so if we turn in the paperwork and we're interested to see the tuition clear and how do we do that?
Choose do what with the tuition?
How would we actually fill out the information, is that part of the enrollment?
Yeah.
So if you qualify for the scholarship program that we have through a county partnership, that could cut tuition down significantly to the point it could be 0 for someone.
Their first option, as long as when they get their budget, their goal is always, if you qualify, their goal is to qualify you at 100%. But that's based on their budget. When you turn in, it's gonna be called JUMP on there. You're gonna say CJMP, that stands for Jasper, Marion, Powashik County. When you turn that in, we'll keep it, send it off to the JUMP representative, but just know they don't, because of when their fundings come in, they're not making those final decisions until around July. But again, I would turn it in, the sooner you turn it in, the more they know who they're looking at and how many people are asking for scholarships.
I think as far as billing, it's monthly, it's run
Yeah.
through the superintendent's office basically, right?
Yeah.
And you can pay those online, I think typically.
Yes, I
And you
believe.
bring the checks in, Deb's here. She wanted to make sure she's here so she can understand kind of ins and outs of this. This is a very new thing for all of us, but, yeah, people pay upfront in our office or, yeah.
Yeah, and they will tell you, JUMP cannot stress enough, just, keep encouraging people, try for it, it doesn't hurt to try.
Do you have to pay a month-to-month basis, or can you
Yeah, I think you pay. You wanna pay?
I didn't hear the question, I'm sorry.
do you have to pay month-to-month, or could you bulk it?
I think people pay it.
Together?
Yeah, I think we have people that pay currently, like they'll pay their whole 4-year-old school tuition if they can do that. That's great. You're just being positive. Look out. Well, if there's no other questions, Carly over there, she's gonna hold this big stack up here. Those are the packets, if you wanna take one home, again, if you wanna, no major rush, but obviously the sooner they come in, the better. It's very common for us to, even with our 4-year-old kids, start getting these from May through summer. However, it just gets scarier the closer we get to the number, the cap number getting hit. So the faster you can get them in, you can bring them into our office. If you have a sibling that's currently here, they can even deliver it to us, a sibling of the child, and then we'll take care of it. We will be in touch. Again, it might take a little while, but basically if you've got your packet in, you can assume that your child is entered, and then we'll start working on whether it's a Tuesday, Thursday, or a Wednesday, Friday situation from that. So is there anything else I'm missing, ladies? I don't know if there's anything in the packet that has which days, but if you want to write on the envelope, you can probably, but yeah, we prefer Tuesday, Thursday, or Wednesday, Friday. 'Cause I know some people might have a Friday off or whatever, now that's great, yeah. So, yeah, you can, if you
And it
want.
looks
way
You
more
want it right on the
overwhelming than it is if you filled it out for preschool.
No, it's actually just overwhelming.
But it is, in a really nice way.
Do not let her
But if
sugarcoat
your
it.
child's going to 4-year-old preschool the following year, we don't think you'll have to do it again. You want to do it
And I
twice.
think,
Just
am I
update.
right on transportation is they would ride with everyone else to school. Like, that's just part of coming to school. So you're paying for the transportation at the end of the day.
Right.
Because they're gonna ride the normal bus with everyone else if they wanted to come to school. And that would only be if they were on a country route, or they'd have to ride a town route bus, right? Like,
No.
they're not gonna come pick your kid up at your door. So they're either gonna have to get to a town route spot, or they're gonna have to be on a country bus. Am I correct in saying that?
To be determined, but my hunch is that we will have a different routing software next year, and we'll just plug in your address, and they'll be picked up wherever you live.
Okay.
Yeah, because we've got some daycares, it makes sense to just deliver them all.
And, little ones riding the bus, just from years and years of past with 4-year-olds, our bus drivers are really good about placing those little ones in the front couple seats right behind them. If they have a sibling, then, that sibling usually sits with the preschool, the little ones, too. But, they're really good about kind of having them right within their sights, know where they are, and paired up with those friends, family members. So, that helps a little bit with that. And then, like I said, the afternoon bus would be a lot lighter in dismissal.
All right, well, unless there's anything else you want to personally come up and ask us about, feel free to grab one of those packets, and then